So really in your face, so that'd be hard to miss. But luckily, we don't have any fires right now. We're good. So on the primary flight display, is there anything that you are, maybe not comfortable with?
I know the flight director. This is like the set parameters for airspeed.
Yeah, the little magenta arrow. Yeah, exactly.
I know this would be close to this would be overspeed.
Exactly. Is there anything on here that you don't recognize? Anything that you're unsure about?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so this little click here on the overhead just told us that the start valve has closed. The switch has gone back to auto, and everything is looking good on engine number 1. So we'll start number 2, same thing, gently push in and over to the left. Awesome. Same process is happening now, but on engine number 2, that start valve is open, that bleed air is shooting in, and our N2 number is rising. Now, we talked about N2. Do you know what N1 is representing?
N1 is that air pressure?
So it's kind of the same idea as N2. It's going to be the...
Oh, for the main.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, so the big one up front that you can actually see. So you notice it's not really doing anything right now, just that the N2 compressor is kind of what's spinning up right now. So here in a moment, the word motoring just disappeared. We can now introduce fuel by pulling out and up. And whenever we do this, we can already see it starting to slowly rise, but whenever we actually get light off here and the exhaust gas temperature starts to rise, that N1 value is rising a little bit quicker now. It's really starting to go. Cool. Any questions over any of that?
Nope.
Cool. All right. So just back to the primary flight display. You can probably get these right, I would imagine, but do you say that we're currently in a left-hand turn here or a right-hand turn?
Left.
Exactly. And your co-pilot, Nick, is not doing great with the flying today. How do you get that square back to the crosshairs?
You shallow off of the left turn and set kind of like a bit less movement. No, not less movement. Like pushing the yoke just forward a tiny bit and adjusting to the right.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Try not to overthink it. It's, It's it doesn't have to be too bad there, just like you said. So push forward a little bit, to the right a little bit. Good job. Are we climbing or descending?
Climbing.
Cool. Do you know how many feet per minute we're climbing?
Currently.
And if you don't, it's okay. I'm just kind of testing you a little bit.
Gauge.
Yeah.
It's like maybe 5,000 or no 1,300 feet. No, it is 5,000 feet.
So you can kind of cheat.
Oh yeah,
right there.
3,100.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that scale does look a little weird there. So yeah, 3,100. Cool. I usually don't ask people that, but you know what you're talking about. So awesome. We have 2 running engines here. That's always a good start. Let's look up on the overhead. We're going to transfer that electrical power from the APU to the engine generator. So gently pull out, forward and release, out, forward and release. Here you go. Perfect. So the passengers will see the lights flicker in the back of the cabin at that time. There's a slight delay when you transfer that electrical power. I'm going to get the air conditioning back on so our passengers don't get angry with us back there. Go ahead and flip those 2 switches forward to turn your landing lights on, and this switch here toggle to the middle position. Do we think that's the most important switch on the whole airplane? No. Passengers back there definitely do.
Yeah.
That's the only one they care about.
That sound set as my phone notification.
Oh,
sound,
really?
So you
That's
might
cool.
accidentally
That's cool.
hear that.
I'll be like, hey, turn it back on. I'll be like, oh, it's your phone. That's cool. That's cool. So we're going to move down to the mode control panel. First, go ahead and turn your flight director on. I'll do the same on my side. Now, with the auto throttle, do you want to use auto throttle, or would you like to manage?
I like to manually do it. I rarely do it in X-Plane.
Good. Awesome. Yeah, so we'll just leave the auto throttle off. If at any point you want to use that, just let me know, and I can set that up for you. So with the speed here, just dial that up to 142 knots initially there. Go ahead and select your VNAV and LNAV. Do you know what VNAV and LNAV are, like what they stand for?
VNAV is vertical, and then LNAV is linear.
Yeah, lateral. Left and right.
Lateral.
Yep. So vertical navigation and lateral navigation. That's going to be essentially vertical navigation, horizontal pink line that moves up and down, telling us how to climb or descend. A little bit more about vertical navigation. Really, the computer is calculating a climb profile, if you will, or a descent profile. So pretty cool. VNAV's awesome. LNAV, all that it's doing is following our flight plan that we have in the system for our left and right there for line. Now altitude today dialed up to 7,000 feet. We'll be keeping it low here on the way over to Columbus. Very good. Awesome. Any questions over anything up top here?
Nope.
All makes sense. Cool. All right, we'll come down to the flight management computer. We'll go ahead and click down our V speed. So go ahead and click the top right, V1. You know what V1 is?
Velocity 1, so takeoff speed.
So yeah, decision speed. So anything below 129, we can abort the takeoff. Anything above
VLR is takeoff.
Exactly, that'll be our rotation speed. Yep. So you know, if for example, go ahead and click VR for me. You're going to see it. They're pretty close together. But say for example, you know, at 130 knots, right in between that, one of the engines like catastrophically failed. We have to take off. We don't have the option after 129 to abort the takeoff. So luckily those two numbers are really close together. Sometimes they're not, depending on the conditions. Now rotation speed, you probably remember last time. It does take a little bit more back pressure than you might be used to. I'm not sure how your sim at home feels, but about back to there. And then as soon as that nose comes up off the ground, you'll slowly bring it back to that neutral position. That's when you shift your eyes into the flight directors. Last one here, V2. Go ahead and click that. That'll be our takeoff safety speed. So if we were to take off and lose an engine, we'd climb out at 142 knots, and that would ensure that we would clear any obstacles out in front of us. Exactly. Yeah, good observation. Awesome. Any questions over this?
Nope.
Cool. All right, we're gonna do a flaps 5 takeoff today. You can see flap 5. So go ahead and take the flap lever over on my side. Gently pull up and back just one notch to flaps 5. And we can verify there, flaps are going down to 5 degrees. Now we'll make sure that our flight controls are free and correct. So go ahead and just give me a little bit of a left turn, a little bit of a right turn. And whenever you do that, watch the ailerons there moving. So this is something that whenever you start flying, even the small planes, you do this every time before you take off to make sure the flight controls are free and they are moving in the correct direction. You see your elevator now moving as well. Push forward. Awesome. Now the last thing, the rudder pedals on the forward, just give me a little push in each direction. Awesome, just like that. Got the movement as well. Now, do you use rudder pedals at home?
I do not currently have any yet, but I'm planning on adding that.
Okay. Do you feel pretty comfortable with those for the most part?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, just remember that we only steer with our feet when we're on the runway, either once we're taking off or once we're landing, or once we have landed, I'm sorry. The brakes are tied in with the rudder pedals, so bring your feet up on the pedals, yeah, just like that. Push forward with your toes. Parking brake is now off. And what you can do, you'll probably hear your instructor say this when you start flying. So right now, you know, your heels are kind of on the bottom of the pedals, toes are up on the top. Yeah. Whenever you're about to take off, you want to bring your heels back down to the floor
so you don't accidentally.
Exactly. Yep. Awesome. So if you're ready, we can go ahead and take off. Now, go ahead and advance the power manually forward about 2 to 3 inches. You're looking here for about 40% at 1. Start rolling. Everything is in the green. Everything looks good. And go ahead and set the power for me. And so actually, just advance it all the way forward. Awesome.
Power set.
Power set. All right, airspeed's live. 80 knots.
V1.
Rotate. That's a great gear up. Gear up for you now. We don't have our horizontal pink line. There it is. Push forward just a little bit for me. That was kind of delayed. You see how long the flight directors have to come up. It's interesting. Now, once we get above 185 knots, we'll bring the flaps up to 1. Now, the way that I'm telling you now, the speed tape there, we have the green 1, which is our flaps 1. So above that, 185, flaps are 1. So, 186. Nice job. Flaps are coming up to 1. And we'll continue climbing out. So how long have you been into aviation? How long has this stuff interested you?
Since I was like
Was there like something that interested you specifically, or was it just kind of can't really remember?
I remember like at the library, like checking out this documentary. It was like all about airplanes and flying machines. Like I remember like watching it for like on repeat, maybe like 30 times like each year.
Absolutely. So we're gonna be leveling off here in just a moment. Now I would go ahead and take the power here and bring it back to a little bit more there. A little bit more. A little bit more. We'll be looking for about 250 knots here. Now you can continue the right hand turn and pull back just a little bit as well. Pull back a little bit more. A little bit more pull there. So have you ever noticed how anytime that you're in a turn, the nose wants to drop on you a little bit? Do you know why that happens?
It's because of the centrifugal force, right?
So what kind of happens? So think about lift. Lift is naturally, it wants to go up. Lift, that's like the direction that force goes. So there's like a vertical component of lift. So whenever you enter a turn, it breaks down into a horizontal component, and there's also the vertical component. Whenever you turn, that vertical component decreases a little bit, and so the nose wants to drop and turn a little bit. So anytime that you turn, and you'll see this even flying the 172 or anything for that matter, whenever you turn, you have to increase that back pressure just a little bit. And kind of the opposite, whenever you're actually rolling back out of the turn, back to wings level, you have to kind of expect the nose might want to pop up on you because you're restoring that full vertical component of lift. So the nose might pop up. Does that make sense? It's kind of odd. Some of those aerodynamics things are kind of odd when you're first learning them, but they're kind of cool. Like once you really start digging into it, you're doing a great job. In a moment, start to level those wings back to the right. Just remember, it takes kind of a lot of input to get those wings level. Awesome job. Do you feel more comfortable at the crosswind from the north here or from the south?
Not from the north.
From the north? Me too.
Yeah.
What do you say, 15 knots?
Yeah,
Is that-
that's reasonable.
Now the starter just popped in there. Now the cool thing with the flight directors, it actually kind of makes, as long as you follow the flight directors, it's making that wind correction for you, which is kind of neat. Usually, what you have to do is you do have to crab into the wind a little bit, which means you have to point your nose into that wind just the slightest bit to make sure that you're tracking on course. Which you probably know that from all the simulator experience that you do have. Sometimes that can be a little bit more challenging though whenever you're flying, say like an old Cessna that just has steam gauge instruments. It's still very possible, and whenever you learn how to plan cross countries, you make all the calculations based on the magnetic variation, the wind, and what the correction angle has to be to fly that course, and then you kind of get a heading that you follow. Then maybe the wind isn't exactly what was forecasted, so things will change a little bit, but you'll learn how to do all those things, which is really fun. Cool. Maybe give me a little bit more power here, just a little bit. Now, would you like to hand fly the entire route today, or would you like to go on autopilot for a couple schools right now that you are really interested in, or you haven't looked into them too much yet?
I think mainly Ohio State.
Okay. Cool. You're Indiana, right?
Yeah,
Have you looked at Purdue at all?
I have. I'm considering it.
So we kind of, I guess, kind of opposite situations for us because, of course, I'm from Ohio. You live in Indiana. My number one was actually Purdue, and I got into both Ohio State and Purdue. But the one thing that made my decision a little bit for me was the out-of-state tuition because it is a little bit more. So I did end up going with Ohio State in that case. Purdue's awesome. I have a lot of friends there that absolutely love it. But OSU is good too. There's it's really whatever's right for you. So let me go and get your approach set up. You're about 6.5 miles from our initial approach fix right now. So do you mess around with crosswinds at all?
Yeah,
Okay.
all the time.
Cool. So you have a pretty good understanding of the crosswind corrections and stuff like that. Okay. Awesome. Well, it should be good. I'm going to set your course here. I'm going to set your arm of your approach. Do you use VATSIM at all?
I think like once or twice.
Okay. So the radio communications, that's kind of one of the parts of flying. Go ahead and bring that power back to the phone all the way back. That's kind of one of the parts of flying. Pull back a little bit more. In real life, it's a little bit intimidating at first, but I think quickly you'll realize that the controllers are kind of at least my fear when I first started was like, oh, I don't want to say something stupid or wrong, on frequency. But the thing is, like, the controllers are human, just like, all pilots are too. So, everyone, especially the controllers, are just there to help. So, pull back a little bit more here for me. We're going a little fast. I'm going to go ahead and deploy the speed brakes just for a second here. Nose might want to pop up on you, so just be ready for that. There we go. And with all that drag, see how quickly that speed's coming down. Pretty nice. I have a little bit of experience in a Bonanza that had little speed brakes that were like the size of my hand, and they would like throw you forward to see it. It was really cool. Nice job. Coming past now, you can start to level those wings. Awesome. And right out the left side there, that little field, that's OSU's airport. That's actually where I fly out of. So that road there is Sawmill Road. You guys may have come down Sawmill Road. But we're, of course, just right around the corner from OSU's airport, from where we're actually at right now. Just pretty cool. Okay, we'll get rid of the speed brakes there for you. There's flaps. And pull back just a touch. Now, of course, it would be my job normally. I'm going to have you go ahead and bring the landing gear
There's
down.
radio alternating.
Go ahead and pull out and down gently. There you go. Pull back just a little bit. Really nice job. Now, you can keep your eyes inside as much as you want for now, but if you want to take a glance outside at the runway, you've got it right out there. Just right out there. Kind of glance back and forth, or if you want to stay inside for now, you're more than welcome to. All right. Now, do you prefer flaps 30 or 40?
I think the flaps pretty good.
Very good. All right. Right. Now,
Wide slope,
keep working the throttles there a little bit.
wide slope,
Nice job. Now, if you look outside, this is where it kind of gets fun because you're doing perfect. Everything looks good. And you can Got it.
8, right.
Wow, perfect.
Paid for the whole runway. We used the whole runway, right?
Yep.
Nice job. So the reason that we give that that aileron there into the wind after we touch down is just because you know, with a plane like this at 15 knots, it's probably not going to do too much. But it is really helpful because what that does with the wind hitting us from the side here,
it's
going to
pressure.
bring, so it puts that pressure back down, helps give you a little bit better control.
Yeah.
And like in a 172, for example, those corrections are really important because the wind can actually flip you over if you're not doing the right thing. So, let's taxi this thing off the runway real quick. So, the tiller wheel over there, if you want to go ahead and use that, is be super gentle with it. But if you bring it around to the right, just like a steering wheel kind of, we'll start turning to the right and give it that little bit of power. And really, for the power, it only takes a little bleed there. There you go. Nice job. And there's New Mexico 1. It's always wherever we are. It follows us. Nice job.
That's a future.
Oh yeah, if you can taxi,
You got taxi, you got it.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Just a little bit to the left here. Kind of follow that line around. Don't be afraid to use the toe brakes a little bit if you have to.
Another one coming in there, huh?
Cool, and you can take one of these gates here. So maybe this first one here. Actually, take the second one. The wingtip clearance looks a little close. I'll take this one right here. Friends of American Airlines over there. Cool, I'm gonna go ahead and flip your landing lights off. Really important to do that.
The grunt.
Yeah, they don't appreciate that too much.
Gotten yelled at on the radio in X-Plane.
Really?
Hey, turn off those landing lights.
They
We
are
can't
bright.
see.
I mean, you can see those things on a plane like this, like 10 to 15 miles, so they are bright.
Of course, I don't have anyone.
Yeah, we don't have
guiding me.
anyone down there helping us out, but you're good there. They can move the jet bridge. Cool, go ahead and set the parking brake here so we don't roll away. I'll go ahead and get your flaps up and good to go. So landing lights are already off. If you would, please switch us back to that auxiliary power unit. So gently out, forward, and release, out, forward, and release. Perfect. And we can now cut the fuel to 1 and 2 by gently pulling out and down and out and down. All right. Everything is spooling down there. Looking good. Now we're back at the gate in Columbus. Everything is shut down as it should be. Of course, we're gonna keep the APU on in this case, so everything is gonna stay lit up front. But what do we have to do? Yeah, you remembered from last time. that's a really important part. You know, the people in the back, they were probably already up. They were probably already, you know, if it's a Spirit, they were probably already fist fighting.
Yep.
Yeah. The boxing matches already started.
We love a good airline banter.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, do you have any questions?
No, that was pretty straightforward.
Yeah. No, you did a really good job. You handled that crosswind landing really well. So, really good. You know, last second little correction there with the rudder to get the thing kind of straightened out. It was great.
All right.
You want to get some pictures before you hop out?